In this video, I'm going to cover a question from SMAC, who hasn't filed his tax returns or her tax returns since the year 2000, and they've been chased by HMRC and they've given them a big tax bill. And listen to the advice I give this person, so if you're in a similar situation, you know what to do. Question from SMAC, who says he hasn't slept well for 3 years plus. HMRC purged taxi drivers and got records from 36 companies, and they wrote to SMAC to make contact. He declined. They came round several times, I assume around his house or his office. He never answered. They got records of earnings from 2011 to 2015, which shows that he earned £3,000 to £4,000 per year doing account work with a taxi base or a taxi company, I assume, and therefore estimated his earnings to be £27,000 per annum. They've not had any access to any of the years, and they think he owes approximately £40,000 since the year 2000. Will they succeed in petitioning me? He says. Okay, Mac, well, if you've not declared any income since the year 2000, that's a lot of tax returns to do, by the way. So the first thing I would say to you is that you ought to respond to them, give them information, and then look back since the year 2000. I mean, I doubt you'll have records going back that far. If you do, good. If you don't, then whatever records you've got, speak to the taxi company. They should have records, but again, they might not have records going further back than 6 years since the last tax return was filed. So get the records that you've got, and then get copies of your personal bank statements, because obviously the money would have been lodged into those bank statements unless you've got a dedicated business bank account, and then see what the income is, and then approach HMRC and say, you said I earned £27,000. I haven't earned £27,000. Look, this is what the income that's gone into my bank account. This is what I've earned. Now, of course, what they will be saying is you've earned income from your school job or your account job, but then also you must have worked with the base and earned cash as well. So they'll want to look at that as well. And depending on which local authority you're with, they will be doing MOTs on your car, which means there'll be a mileage log. So they'll say, hold on a minute, let's say you have an MOT every year. A year ago, your car had done, let's say 80,000 miles. A year later, when you had your next MOT, it did 110,000 miles. So you drove 30,000 miles. How much of that was personal use and how much was business use? Now, of course, if you've got a taxi, I assume it's a private hire taxi. They'll say, and if it's insured only for business purposes, they'll say, well, why are you driving it personally or privately if it's the insurance only covers business purposes? But of course, there is private mileage. You have to agree with them how much of the car was used for private mileage, and then you can only claim a certain percentage of your wear and tear, repairs, maintenance, insurance, fuel costs. And then the rest of it, they'll say, okay, you charge £3 for the first mile, and they'll do a calculation of how long an average journey is. So they'll say an average journey is, let's say, 3 miles. So if the first mile is £3, then next 2 miles or subsequent miles are £1.50 each. Therefore, a 3 mile journey would be £6, and on that they'll work out your total miles, average journey price, dead mileage, and come to a figure. And you'll have to obviously negotiate and come to an agreement with them on that, and work a way of paying your tax and come to a settlement. That's the best thing to do, my friend. Don't ignore them anymore. That's just going to land you in more trouble, more interest, more fines, penalties. It's going to make it worse. Then they'll take you to court, make you bankrupt. You don't want to go down that road. So talk to them, pick up the phone. If you're unsure, speak to an accountant who has experience of working with HMRC in terms of tax inquiries. Make a disclosure and say, this is what the situation is. We don't agree with your figures. Give them evidence and get it out of the way, because the last thing you want is sleepless nights. You've already had 3 years plus of them. You don't want any more. Hope that helps.